up the events of life.
Hello and welcome to Hollywood at Home from Arizona Public Media. I'm Victoria Lucas. In the 1940s, MGM assembled brilliant teams behind and in front of the camera to create some of the most entertaining and enduring musical comedies ever filmed. In fact, MGM took great pride in boasting that they had more stars than there are in heaven. And they weren't far wrong. Tonight's movie, Anchors Aweigh, is among the best of those quintessential song and dance extravaganzas. Gene Kelly and Frank Sinatra play two young Navy sailors on a 4-day pass in glitzy, glamorous Los Angeles after 8 months at sea. Their plan is to chase some dames and have a great time singing, drinking, and carousing. But they're soon caught up in a series of comic misadventures. They meet a talented singer, played by Katherine Grayson, and hatch a wild scheme to get her an audition with a famous conductor. While the songs and dances are magical, another delight is the character teaming of Gene Kelly as the brash Lothario opposite Frank Sinatra as a shy, quiet guy who's awkward with girls. Their odd couple chemistry is apparent from the first frame as they have a genuinely good time together. And Sinatra needed that. He was a pop singing sensation who'd tried his hand at movies and been disappointed by the projects and the roles he was offered while under contract to RKO. When his contract expired, MGM studio chief Louis B. Mayer was waiting in the wings and quickly signed him, promising better roles in better films. Anchors Aweigh was Sinatra's first film for MGM, and it quickly established him as a star. It was also his first film in Technicolor, and it was reliably reported that there were a great many oohs and ahs from his female fans in theaters around the country when Old Blue Eyes had his first close-up. Gene Kelly was also a relative newcomer to films. He had been a star on Broadway and arrived in Hollywood in 1941 with a contract for one film, MGM's For Me and My Gal, starring Judy Garland, always intending to return to the New York stage. However, he instantly clicked with what he called the kindred creative spirits at MGM, where he ended up staying for the next 16 years. Kelly had sometimes choreographed his own dance numbers, notably a love duet with a mop in MGM's Thousands Cheer, but Anchors Aweigh was his first film as the sole choreographer. Now, many of you will remember the combination of live action and animation in Kelly's famous dance with Jerry the Mouse from the Tom and Jerry cartoons. And if you haven't seen it, you are in for a treat. The effect was achieved by the technique called rotoscoping, sort of an early version of CGI, in which live action is shot first, then animators trace over each individual frame of film footage to create a cartoon image that's layered onto the final print, thus creating a composite image of the human and cartoon character playing the scene together. That sequence took 2 months to complete at a cost of $100,000, a lot of money in those days, which gave MGM executives some sleepless nights. But it was worth the time, money, and effort. The choreography, camera work, animation, and perfect editing made this sequence one of the most famous in movie musical history. So, what could be more challenging than performing with a mouse that isn't there? Well, Gene Kelly might answer, teaching Frank Sinatra to dance. Sinatra had never danced before, not on camera anyway, so the screenplay included him in only one dance number. Kelly simplified some of the steps for Sinatra, but even so, keeping up with Gene Kelly on the dance floor was, let's call it, a challenge. Kelly, always a perfectionist, required Sinatra to rehearse for 8 weeks, and it still took 72 takes to get his performance right. But rather than complain or refuse to do it again, Sinatra was grateful. "I was born with a couple of left feet," he said, "and I barely knew how to walk, let alone dance. It was Gene who saw me through. We became a team because he had the patience of Job and the fortitude not to punch me in the nose." On the flip side of the coin, Gene Kelly was never completely confident about his singing ability. Talking later about Anchors Aweigh, he laughed, "Singing the classical music was Grayson. Singing the popular music was Sinatra. And singing in the bathtub was me." Anchors Aweigh was directed by George Sidney, who had recently been promoted to features by MGM after a successful string of Our Gang comedies and other short films. And not only does he provide us with a Technicolor tour of iconic locations in Southern California, including the Hollywood Bowl and Olvera Street, well, actually a backlot replica of the street, he gives us a rare glimpse into what Hollywood movie life was like in the 40s. When our heroes sneak onto a studio lot, we get to see the real MGM, including the backlot, a soundstage complete with the most advanced cameras of the day, the studio commissary, and even a scoring stage where we see members of the MGM orchestra performing. And while Jose Iturbi, the conductor that our heroes tracked down at the studio, may not be a household name today, he was a hugely popular classical pianist and conductor of the time. And he turns in a delightful performance, playing some great boogie-woogie while showing some remarkably good comic timing. Other supporting cast include Pamela Britton as a fast-talking waitress from Brooklyn, and cherubic Dean Stockwell, in only his second movie as a child actor, playing the little boy who sets the plot in motion. Anchors Aweigh includes several songs by famed composers Julie Stein and Sammy Cahn, including What Makes the Sun Set, I Begged Her, and I Fall in Love Too Easily, which earned an Oscar nomination as Best Original Song. The movie was also nominated for Best Picture, Best Actor, that's Kelly, not Sinatra, and Best Cinematography. And it came home a winner with the Oscar for Best Musical Score, which you will not find surprising once you've seen the movie. And the pairing of Kelly and Sinatra in this film was so creatively strong and so popular that the studio put them together in 2 more films, Take Me Out to the Ballgame and On the Town. Their on-screen camaraderie continued off-screen, where they became lifelong friends. And now please sit back and enjoy this delightful musical comedy that it's guaranteed to make you smile. From 1945, it's Anchors Aweigh.